Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Simone de Lima,
And I'm Leah DeFreitas.
and we're here with Compassion Over Killing to show you how to make a recipe that's actually very dear to our hearts. I'm Brazilian,
And I am too.
and pão de queijo, as we call it in Brazil, is a Brazilian cheese bread that, as you can hear in the name, is traditionally made with cheese. But since going vegan, vegans learn how to make everything they really love in a veganized version. So we've had Leah de Freitas here this week and the last week for her internship here with us.
Sad to go, but
And we discovered that she loves to cook, and we also discovered that, like me, she originates from Brazil. So we decided to make this recipe, which is a heritage recipe for us, in a vegan version that is no dairy involved, no animals are hurt, cows get to live with their calves and be happy, and we get to eat pão de queijo and be happy.
and everyone wins.
So let's start. It's really a very simple recipe, and it's basically made with potatoes and a manioc or yuca starch that I will show to you. And we'll be posting the recipes very soon. So to start off, we have, let me show you, basically cooked potatoes and mash them. No salt in this part of the recipe. And we're going to add 3 cups. We're having the recipe now because we made some earlier, but I'm telling you the recipe in the whole recipe. So it's 3 cups of mashed and cooked potatoes. So Leah, you want to add those?
This is a third cup.
Is that a third?
Yeah.
We want the half here.
Thank you. And it works a lot better if they're warm to mash the whole thing up with the rest of the ingredients. So if they're freshly boiled, then you'll have a much easier time.
And to that, we add half a cup. Well, we're going to use 2 kinds of yuca flour, and they're available in Brazilian stores around the country. So the 2 kinds of yuca flour are called polvilho doce, which is the sweet yuca flour, and then the polvilho azedo, which is the sour yuca flour. So it's really important to buy both of them if you can't. We'll be posting the recipe. If you can't say polvilho, you can write it down, take it to a Brazilian store, smile, show them the product, the name. So we add half a cup of the polvilho azedo, of the sour yuca flour. And we will add 1.5 cups of the polvilho doce, or the sweet one, and half a cup and 6 tablespoons of oil. You can use canola oil. And then to give it that cheesy flavor, although part of the cheesy thing going on here is really the reaction between the yuca flours, we're going to add nutritional yeast. You can also use vegan parmesan if you can find that locally. But if you can't, nutritional yeast is delicious. It does add that yeasty, cheesy flavor, and it's widely available. And you can just add half a tablespoon of salt. And we start mixing everything up. And where we want to get to is a nice smooth batter.
Right now it's going to look a little bit on the crumbly side, so you can add a little bit of warm water or a little bit more oil and work with that as you go.
So we normally add up to 1/4 of a cup of water. It depends a lot on how much water content your potatoes, your mashed potatoes will have. So you want to just heat up some water, like 1/2 cup to 1/4 of a cup, and then just add accordingly. Yeah, let's add some more. It's still looking crumbly, but it's smelling really great already. And this is a really cool recipe to prepare for get-togethers, summer, events outside. It's always a crazy big success whenever I take these. People are very impressed. And they really can't believe there's no cheese in it every time.
All of your non-vegan or non-dairy free friends will be really surprised about the texture. When you break those open, you'll get that stringy, almost gooey texture that you would normally get in cheesy things. But it's all coming from that yucca flour.
Yeah, the yucca or manioc in Brazil, it's a native plant that was used by the indigenous peoples in many different ways. So we have all kinds of derivatives, not only of the plant itself, which is very high in fiber, has some really interesting health properties, and it was used traditionally by the indigenous peoples. And then during like the development of Brazil, we started using it in many different ways. So we use the plant, it's the root itself. It's a cassava. It's also known as cassava root. And then there are many different kinds of flours that are made with it. So we make a flour that's what we call tapioca, which is not what is normally called tapioca here, which is a kind of a flat pancake. And then we have the polvilhos to make all sorts of products, including the pão de queijo. And then we have the little balls that people call tapioca here that we actually call sagu to make puddings with. So it's a really amazing heritage product that we have that we love to celebrate because it's a native of the Americas. It's really good for you, and we can make all sorts of things with it. So it's starting to look much more like a batter. I don't know if it's possible to.
Yeah, it's really starting to come together. And once you get to that point where it's starting to lift off of the bottom of the bowl a little bit, you can start to roll them up into balls.
So what you want to do is you want to lightly cover a baking pan with some foil and lightly spray it with oil, or it will stick to the bottom. And let's do the rolling. And you can decide which size you want to make them. Typically, I like to make them into kind of cocktail sizes. So we were thinking is this over an inch?
Maybe a little bit above an inch.
So this is a really good size, cocktail size. And for this recipe, you'll get almost 70 of these, about 65 to 70 of these little balls. So great for a party. Everybody will get to taste some.
You can even make them the bigger size, which is what you're going to get on the street side places where you can get this kind of Brazilian cheese bread. So
yeah, you can make them like really big, like almost as a a snack in and of itself. So here we are, rolling them up. It's fun. Kids like to do this. This is a great project also to cook with kids, because who doesn't like to get their hands all oily and make little batter balls. And once you're done rolling them up, they don't have to be precise, or, you want to keep them this kind of the same size so they don't cook at different times. We should have told them, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So it's not a very hot oven. And when you're done rolling them up, you can pop these into the oven. Here we go.
And it looks like we already have some freshly baked pão de queijo right here. And they're going to turn out really nice and puffy and super cheesy and delicious. So let's give these a try.
So you should be watching them in the oven. Usually for the small ones, half an hour will do. Usually smell the flavor before, when they're ready to be eaten. And as you can see, Leah just demonstrated, when they open up, they really do.
It's such a great feeling.
This cheesy feeling. And then traditionally in Brazil, we either eat them just like this, or we can add some cream cheese. So you can add some cream cheese to the inside.
Right here we have Kite Hill's cream cheese. It's made with almond milk. And this is the chive version. Really delicious.
So you want to try it with the cream cheese?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's lovely.
So good. And
wow.
Now another option that's also traditional in Brazil and gives it a little kick and a little like mixture of flavors is you can actually add some sweet jelly to it. So here we have some Field Day Organic blueberry fruit spread. You can add a fruit spread, or you can add some jelly. Would you like to try? This is the two ways they're usually served.
Wow.
Right.
The sweet and then the savory really coming together. Especially those deep savory notes from the yucca flower.
Mm-hmm.
And it really has that cheesy, yeasty flavor that you don't really just get from the nutritional yeast.
Mm-hmm.
It's something beyond that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you can get creative. Once you have this nailed down, you can actually add some spices to the batter. So sometimes I make it with a little basil or a little like Italian spices. You could serve it with all sorts of like creams and pastes, and it really you can start playing around with this as a base for different creaminess additions to the pão de queijo. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll be adding the recipe. And so you're going to try this at home, Leah?
Definitely. I can't wait for everyone to try it.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you make it. Please add to the comments. Come back and let us know if you tried it at your picnic, at your summer um, outing, and we'll be waiting to hear news from you from this great success. Tell them it's a super difficult recipe and impress or not. Just share the recipe. I want to give a shout out to my ex business partner, Marina Corbucci, who developed this recipe. She and I opened Brazilia's first vegan cafe. And so this is an original recipe from our cafe, Café Corbucci. Um, and I hope you enjoy this recipe and share the vegan goodness with everyone. Bye.
Bye.